We just now, today, welcome Moon, hello, we're gonna watch the Minuteman. He's an archaeologist, educator, environmental science, and author, and Google debunker. So we're gonna learn some stuff. We're gonna get big brains. Okay, maybe we'll go the most popular, because that'll always be the best.
It's the giant steps in Peru.
You have got to be kidding me. Probably already know that this isn't a
Oh my god, does somebody think these are giant steps in Peru?
giant staircase. There still seems to be some confusion on it, so let me just drive it into the ground one last time. This is Ollantaytambo. It is an Incan terrace farm. Milo, it looks like stairs. All right, riddle me this. If this was a staircase built for giants, why is there a human-sized staircase in the middle of it? And another human-sized staircase on the
Yeah, that would make no sense. Why would there be human staircases next to it?
side of it? No, maybe they had human pets, a little pet on a guy on a string. That really looks like a giant could live in it. Oh yeah, and this doorway too. It's like 5.5 feet tall. Let's use some context clues. What's that over there? Is that a terrace farm? Of course that's not a terrace farm. That was a staircase for baby giant. You ready for this? This is my favorite one. There is an entire valley right here. Where were they going? Why would you need to build gigantic steps up this hill and into these tiny ass houses? Look at that. There's no stairs down the other side of the mountain. And this is what your giant stairs are made out of. Can you imagine a giant picking this up? Yes, we're gonna make a staircase so I can get over this hill. Giant conspiracy truly makes me believe that the human race is a lost cause.
It's the
Dinosaurs actually existed, wouldn't their bones be everywhere?
Did she just?
Really? We're doing dinosaur denialism? What is it, like 1830? Everyone and their mother's been tagging me in this dumbass video, so I guess I have to talk about it.
Put our critical thinking skills to the test this morning.
Can we put our critical thinking skills to the test this morning? I'm a girl's girl, but girl.
I know one thing you didn't do this morning, and that is open Google even once. You could have educated yourself, used critical thinking even, but you didn't, and now you have to deal with me. Why don't we all find dinosaur bones in our backyard? Jesus, this question could be answered by a dinosaur-obsessed toddler. I am from New England. Bedrock of New England is granite. Intrusive igneous rock, meaning that it has a volcanic origin. And not only was most of the granite in New England deposited before dinosaurs existed, but you can't have fossils in igneous rock. For the most part, dinosaur fossils can only occur in sedimentary rock. This is a map of dinosaur fossils in the US. Unless you live here, forget about finding dinosaur fossils in your yard.
Yeah, because it's just like you don't have the rocks that can fossilize dinosaurs. Does that not make sense? Does that not make sense?
And even if you did, you'd have to dig pretty deep to do it. 60 seconds is up, but I've only covered one of your points. I'm not done with you yet.
Dinosaurs
Oh my god.
So a lot of the people are trying to tell me that the pyramids weren't built under the sand and that that's a crazy idea.
People are calling you crazy for thinking the Great Pyramid was built underneath 450 feet of sand? Yeah, I agree with you, actually. That's not crazy. That's batshit insane is what that is.
So why did they only put gold at the top of the pyramid?
There is not a single person who knows what the capstone of the Great Pyramid was, or even if there was one. Who knows, maybe it was gold. And if it was, then maybe they clad the whole pyramid in it and it was all stolen. Considering you don't cite how you know what was on top of the Great Pyramid, I'm gonna assume you just pulled it directly out of your ass.
Because the gold tip was the only thing showing above the sand.
Have you ever touched sand? Your parents ever bring you to a beach as a kid? You know, you dig in the sand, you try and dig a tunnel,
Is he trying to claim that the pyramids were underneath sand?
and it immediately collapses in on itself? Why would you ever build something 400 feet tall with a 750 foot wide base underneath sand? Could you guys precision quarry 6.5 million tons of stone for me to just bury in the desert? Are you literally out of your mind?
I mean, like, it's fine not to know things, you know? Like, I'm not saying I am an expert on, like, pyramids, right? But, like, why are you making videos if you don't know?
Pyramids were built with sound.
Yo, you know what? I'm totally with it. The pyramids were built with a didgeridoo. Firstly, this is really cool. This dude's moving a rock with sound. Looks like he's living his best life. The thing he's moving weighs like 4 ounces. We're trying to build this. These blocks can weigh up to 15 tons. That's a lot of didgeridoos. I'm not saying it's impossible. Clearly, if you had something big enough, you could move one of these blocks with sound. And that's the problem, because you need something so goddamn big to make the sound to move these, that moving the thing that makes the sound would then become
Oh yeah, sorry, redacted. Pyramids were built by aliens. Don't forget that. They were built by aliens. Very, very important. Aliens?
The problem. Using a fucking 2-pound didgeridoo to, move a 3-ounce rock is not a very good exchange rate when you're trying to move a 15-ton piece of limestone.
Yeah, because like our bodies are stronger than a didgeridoo.
You have to get them all precisely lined up like that. Can you didgeridoo that a little to the left? I don't know how people think things like this are somehow more plausible than, them using ropes and sticks to do it. Because personally, I think it'd be a lot easier to do something like this than to make a 10-story didgeridoo.
Pyramids.
Right? A 10-story didgeridoo would be way harder. Way harder.
It's impossible to build the pyramid.
I got 3 things for you that are gonna blow your goddamn mind. There they are. All 3 of them.
Why are so many people why is so many people not believe that the pyramids could be built by hand? Do people think people in the Egyptian time were just dumbasses? We decide not to build pyramids anymore. We could build pyramids nowadays if we wanted to. We just are not pyramid aesthetic. We just like that depression core. There was architects designing these pyramids. There were skilled laborers. There was slave laborers. There was all kinds of different laborers in this situation. It's just people made things. They were bored. You know what I mean? Imagine me I'm bored. You want to work on the pyramid today? Oh my God, I would love to work on the pyramid today. People get bored and we have hobbies. Are we not allowed to have hobbies?
It does take balls to look at the biggest pile of rocks on the planet and have your thought be, no.
Even with the technology we have now, we would struggle to build them.
With the technology we have now, we couldn't build a giant pile of rocks. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're probably from a different planet. So let me bring you up to speed. We built this. It's like a building that's almost 1 kilometer tall. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Here's a dam that's so goddamn big that the lake it holds back has literally changed the rotation of planet Earth. I-95, the auto mile in Norwood. I mean, the things humanity is capable of when we put our minds together.
We just think that's boring, but that's a pretty feasible work of art.
Together is truly astonishing.
Were around before us were more advanced than we are today.
The ancient Egyptians lived in a desert and they were able to do this with just a bunch of sticks, rocks, rope, and a whole ton of forced labor. You're telling me that you couldn't do the same thing when you have access to a tower crane, Caterpillar 797 mining truck, and a goddamn Bagger 288. You don't lack the technology, you just have a skill issue.
See, I could build a pyramid if I wanted to, Chad. I have the skill.
You haven't figured it out? It's an ice wall yet?
Don't you take that patronizing...
Oh no. Oh no, Chad. It's the flat earthers.
Home with me, boy. You're wearing a hat that says ice wall. I wish I had the balls to walk around with a sign on my head that says I never learned how to read.
When the Navy went to Antarctica and flying a helicopter and panning, they never get to the end because it is an ice wall.
It's called the Horizon. This is not Game of Thrones, hun.
Whoa, okay, pause. Antarctica's really big. About the size of one Antarctica. But you seem to have gotten the size of Antarctica confused with the size of Rhode Island. Secondly, let's critical think for a second, if you can do that. By some lapse of judgment on my end, I decided to give you a helicopter, and I told you to fly it around Antarctica. Firstly, you wouldn't make it. It's too big, you'd run out of fuel, you'd crash into the ocean. For any confusion,
Antarctica is a lot bigger than a lot of people's little brain can wrap around it.
see Rhode Island. Before you crashed into the ocean, if you were flying around Antarctica in a big counterclockwise circle, do you know what you would see out of the left window of your helicopter the entire time? A giant wall of ice. You wanna know why? Because that's what it looks like when you're looking at the side of a giant fucking circle. I've been sailing along this coast for 10 months. I think it's an infinite wall of jungle. The sheep keep telling me that I'm just sailing around Hawaii.
We have more proof than ever, and then people are just like, no, I reject your reality, I substitute my own.
We just found out how to build a pyramid.
I like this.
We just now, today, he's today's year old when we figured out how to build a pyramid. Breaking news, we now know how to find a pyramid. This is the guy.
This guy, he's also a smartass. But unfortunately he's one of the people who's gonna try and convince you that you couldn't build the pyramids with modern technology and that the ancient Egyptians had far more advanced and superior tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, his primary argument is pretty much just a compilation of OSHA violations. This argument is stupid, and he literally debunks it himself in the next, 2 seconds.
Or around 80 tons each, lifted over 50 meters off the ground. Not sure how they did that.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Just look at the
Like
picture
that!
right behind
Right there, look at the picture. They pushed them and pulled.
you. The ancient Egyptians did not lift the stones for the pyramid, they dragged them. Do you really think that people without modern technology would have looked for a way to pick the stone up off the ground and lift it? I encourage you to Google the phrase, work smarter, not harder. It takes way less people to drag it up a ramp than it does to lift it physically off the ground and move it over. And that's why this is a bad faith argument, because they're working harder, not smarter. What you do is tie 3 of these trucks to that stone and drag it in the course of an afternoon.
Oh my, what are people like him hoping to accomplish in life by lying?
You guys are not going to believe this, which is good because it's not true. Every time I see this fun fact, a little bit of my soul dies. It goes like this. The number for the speed of light is the same coordinates as the pyramids of Giza. I don't know what kind of crack these people are smoking, considering this.
I would love to know too, Milo. I would also love to know, Milo. Sometimes I feel like these people, they want to convince other people to make themselves feel better about their own stupidness. Because like, if we're stupid together, then I'm not that stupid, because then I'm smart.
One of my favorite examples of the collective aneurysm that is pseudo-archaeology. I thought I would talk about it and all of its faults. Riddle me this. This argument hinges on the speed of light being 299 million meters per second. You could say, whoa, how'd the Egyptians figure out what the speed of light was? And that would be very astute of you. The thing that I think is even more shocking about this is the implication that ancient Egyptians used the metric system. Do you not think that the aliens that built the pyramids would have used something else? The entire fucking universe used the metric system while America's still using imperial. Secondly, this is not
Even the aliens are using kilometers instead of miles. Like, get with the program, America.
coordinate. That is a latitude line. It means that this is one band that runs all the way around the planet. Thirdly, it doesn't actually run through the pyramids. It runs next to them. If that's enough evidence for you, ooh, they must have also built Jacksonville, Florida. If you know someone who believes this, please refer them to a psychologist. Earlier this week, Polish archaeologists announced that they had discovered a vampire burial. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is it a vampire? No. Is it a burial? Absolutely. This unfortunate young woman likely lived around the 17th century and was buried with full accordance to vampire superstition. As you can tell by the agricultural scythe across her neck, with the presumed intention being that if the deceased were to rise again to suck the blood of the living, she would be immediately decapitated. It's just like the old saying goes, why kill when you can overkill? Beyond this, the young woman was also found with a padlock around her toe. This was likely more of a symbolic feature signifying the permanence of death and the banishment from the world of the living. So what is the story here? While archaeologists have found no immediate evidence of foul play, the presence of this one naturally protruding tooth has shed some light on the topic.
Oh, she had like a tooth deformity, and they were like, vampire, vampire. What, does that make me a vampire with my tooth fang?
And as heartbreaking as it is, we could be looking at a tale as old as time. One where the violence and hate from the fearful and superstitious is so often channeled towards those who are different. Earlier this
That's so sad.
How is it possible to cut this using these?
My man looks like he's thinking hard. The conspiracy theorist treats these granite sarcophagi like they were created in one step. So they have to jump to conclusions like, oh, they needed a circular saw to do it, or it was done with lasers. Thinking this way, they overcomplicate it so much that the only seemingly possible explanation is something totally improbable.
Have they never met polishing?
Are you ready to see how close he comes to figuring this one out?
Copper is 3, granite is 6.5. Right here by quartz. This means that in order to cut granite, you would need something harder, such as quartz.
Bro, you are one
Yeah. Such as quartz.
synapse connection away from figuring this one out.
Such
Only
as
the Egyptians
quartz.
had large quantities of quartz. Copper didn't do the cutting. The quartz did. Very willfully misleading to be showing these tools. You wouldn't use tools like this to create something like this. You used copper saws. They would put sand into the crack, and the copper blade would work that aggregate and cut through the block of granite. It's been tested and proven time and time again. I don't care if you have a hard time believing it. Yes, it would have been incredibly time consuming. Yes, the people that worked on
But sometimes I always wonder, if you don't know because you dumb, why open your mouth? Why open your mouth? Shush, 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 shush. Ask the question. Don't act like you know the facts. If I don't know the answer to something, I'm like, I'm stupid. I don't know the answer. I just go, hey, smart people, what is 2 plus 2? And then the smart people answer. I don't go ahead and be like, you know what? 2 plus 2, it is 5. And I will tell you why, because there's no way it can be 4. Like, What? That's how dumb they sound.
On it were highly skilled craftsmen. Let's not go crying alien tech just because you have a hard time understanding it.
I don't understand. Alien.
I know what you're thinking. Wow, that's a big-ass rock.
Yeah!
Well, you'd be wrong. That is not a big-ass rock. It is a big-ass chunk of metal. In fact, it's actually the biggest-ass chunk of metal. This is the Hoba meteorite. Pretty amazing that it landed in front of all those seats. The Hoba meteorite is not only the largest intact meteorite on the entire planet, but also the largest known
Meteorite? Metal from the space? Chat, it's alien metal. Don't you know this is the aliens trying to communicate with us? They're trying to let us know that they exist and that they have made the pyramids for us using this metal.
piece of iron on the entire planet. It weighs 60 tons. The thing is huge. Here's the weird part. Hoba meteorite has no impact crater. Bit strange. Let's talk about why. It's theorized that when the Hoba meteorite entered the Earth's atmosphere, it was going really goddamn fast, probably around 20,000 miles an hour. But as it entered the atmosphere, it slowed down, potentially because of its shape being very flat on both sides. This would have increased its drag, meaning that its impact may have only been around 6,000 miles an hour. This would have both reduced the size of the impact crater and also preserved the projectile. Hoba was actually a tiny meteorite, which is actually why it's the largest intact specimen that we have, because when something like this enters the atmosphere at 20,000 miles an hour, it does this. I know.
Oh my god. The Arctic Pyramid Conspiracy?
You know, you're actually right. No mountain does have 4 sides with equal angles, including this one. Look at it. I've been tagged in so many conspiracy videos talking about this pyramid in Antarctica. So I'm going to use this highly simple meme with the Sigma male stock footage behind it to break down why this conspiracy is stupid. Firstly, it's worth noting that this peak doesn't even have a name, but it is part of the Ellsworth Mountains in Antarctica. Now, as far as mountains, it's fairly small, standing at about 4,000 feet.
It's so tiny, it's just a little baby.
Which, you know, is almost 3,500 feet taller than the Pyramid of Khufu, which, you know, is a little bit big for a pyramid. But Milo, if it's not a pyramid, then why does it look like a pyramid? Occam's razor, baby, the simplest answer is often the most likely. This shape is actually fairly common for geologic structures which were subjected to cold weather erosion. Here's a picture of the Alps where you can see a suspiciously straight ridgeline. This shape is caused by repeated yearly freeze and thaw action, and not by aliens.
Of course, they think all things are by aliens. Also, if everything was made by aliens, what would that make this? What would this make? Would that make this Chad happier? Would this Chad get off that the aliens did this? Does this Chad get like horny for aliens? Because that's what it sounds like.
Is proof that giants are real?
Is that supposed to be a rhetorical question? Because, I mean, obviously the answer is no, but I am curious to see how you back this up.
Everything used to be a lot bigger due to oxygen levels and...
We just need an example of a mammal that got bigger because there was too much oxygen.
Take a look at this prehistoric centipede.
Now, I'm no ornithologist, but that right there is definitely not a mammal.
A centipede's not a mammal!
Bitch, an arthropluria. It's an arthropod, as you may have guessed. And there's a reason why it got so big and mammals didn't. You don't need to be a biologist to know that mammals and insects probably breathe differently. Mammals got lungs and our respiratory system's tied to our circulatory system. And insects, in a way, sort of breathe through their skin. Boom, it's the Carboniferous period.
I didn't know insects breathe through their skin.
Now, Happy New Year. Trees everywhere. It's hot, it's humid, oxygen levels are 30% higher than they are today. And so insects go, damn, if only I had more surface area, I could be sucking in some more oxygen. Because I don't have lungs.
Oh, they get big so they can breathe more.
It's like a total loser. And so insects pop the off. Oh my god, it took me 60 seconds to debunk one bullshit point. I guess I'm gonna have to make another video.
Okay, so you see a big... People like to make comically big things. This is a normal human behavior. We like to make comically massive things.
Bones can completely decay within 20 years.
Fossils are not normal bones, ma'am. It's not like they just put the dinosaur bones on the ground and we're like, oh my god, it didn't rot away. It's fossilized.
Yo, I love this one. This argument goes like this. Dinosaurs can't exist because I didn't do my research. So if bones decay in like 20 years when they're lying on the ground, how do dinosaurs? The reason dinosaur fossils are so rare is because they require really specific circumstances in order to exist. Most dinosaur fossils are found in sedimentary rock, where a body was rapidly covered with sediment which allows the bones to preserve. That's also why so many of the skeletons are articulated or complete. Another point which she claims indicates that these are all a hoax or something like that. Probably the most important thing is that these aren't bones. They're dinosaur fossils. There is no bone left in this. It is fossilized. During fossilization, a bone is replaced with minerals. Meaning that what you're seeing here is sort of like a stone cast of where bone used to be. Where's she go with the rest of this video? If you guess she starts talking about giants and Nephilim, you'd be absolutely right. Hilarious considering she opened this video talking about critical thinking. Alright, I have enough nerve damage from this one.
Crazy.
Who's got 2 thumbs and made the woolly mammoths go extinct? These guys. About 10,000 years ago, somebody's ancestor killed the last mammoth. Real dick move. But did you know that in a far-off corner of the world, a small population survived? This is Wrangel Island. Today, it's part of Russia. It was the home of the very last population of woolly mammoths. During the last glacial period, the sea level was about 400 feet lower. So mammoths from the mainland were able to walk out to populate what would become Wrangel Island. Then the sea level rose, and they all got stuck. Now, becoming trapped on an island in Siberia kind of seems like a terrible thing to happen. But man, in this case, let me tell you, it totally saved their ass. Because the mammoths of Wrangel Island were able to survive for another 6,000 years after their mainland relatives had gone extinct.
That's so
That means that
cool.
mammoths lived on this island until about 4,000 years ago. They were still there when the pyramids were being built. 4,000 years ago, the mammoths of Wrangel Island vanished at the same time that humans arrived. Drove this final sanctuary into extinction.
Once he lost his best friend, they're like, what's the point? What's the point anymore? You know what I mean? The last mammoth probably died of sadness.
Check this out. This is a hand-colored map of the United States from 1864. It provides a pretty amazing frozen snapshot of American history and has some pretty fascinating stuff on it, so let's take a look. First and probably most notable is what is now Oklahoma was still called the Indian Territory, a place where indigenous groups from around the United States were sent to after being forcibly deported from their homelands. Today, North and South Dakota was, at the time, the one large Dakota territory. If we look
Why did North and South Dakota split? You know what? I feel like it's a long, dramatic pissing contest, probably.
in the middle of California, we will see something labeled Tulare Lake. This used to be one of the largest lakes in the United States, but no longer exists today due to being drained from our unsustainable agricultural practices. Oh, and speaking of lakes in California, no Salton Sea yet. More remote parts of the country are still labeled with the indigenous groups that live there, like the Crow, the Cheyenne, the Paiute, and the Blackfeet. Canada has the huge label of British possession across it. We even have the symbol of Manifest Destiny herself, the Union Pacific Railroad running all the way across the country. Check this out.
That's a really interesting old map.
What? I've never heard this before. So they're saying the only reason the United States never adopted the metric system is because the ship carrying the standardized weights was hijacked by pirates in the 1790s.
That seems like such a stupid, far-fetched little story.
Alright, so I did a little digging. I don't know if I'd call it true, but I would definitely at least call it a gross oversimplification. Let me break it down for you. Since England had spent the last couple hundred years not being able to keep it in her pants, much of the world used the British imperial system. In 1795, the French decided to go and invent the metric system like a bunch of goddamn communists. Thomas Jefferson, the acting Secretary of State at the time, heard about the metric system and was like, yo, I want to pitch that to Congress. So he called up his buddy Joseph Dombey in France and was like, bring me the metric system. So Dombey grabbed some metric weights, hopped on a ship, got blown off course by a storm, and then was captured by pirates and died in captivity. Oh, sorry, I don't mean pirates. I mean British privateers. I swear to God, if I ever hear another British person complain about how we don't use the metric system, I'm gonna... Changing the unit of measurement wasn't up to Thomas Jefferson. And in all likelihood, even if he had got these weights, he probably wouldn't have been able to change Congress's mind. I wouldn't say pirates are the reason we don't have the metric system, but god damn it, they sure helped.
Spill the tea. Tea.
When I first saw this, I was like, there ain't no way that town is actually built inside a meteor crater. I mean, look at that. It's just too good to be true. Look at how circular that is. So I looked into it, and that's where I found that this town is absolutely built inside a meteor crater, and that this town is probably the least interesting thing about this meteor crater. This is the town of Nordlingen in Germany, and
Nordlingen! We love the silly names.
it's located inside the Nordlinger Rice impact crater. And you gotta be like, yeah, no shit, look at how circular that is. Of course it's an impact crater. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But here's an actual map of that impact crater. It's 15 miles in diameter. While technically that's true, it's a little misleading because it makes you think this is the crater. But the real crazy thing about this crater is it has a mineral found nowhere else in the world. It's called moldavite. It looks like this. It was a type of projectile glass that was formed when this meteor impacted the ground 15 million years ago. If you like geology, it's super cool because it's really rare.
So they made the town to look like it was a crater. That was aesthetic. Oh, I love that. So it's a very large.
And only comes from this one crater. And if you're a crystal girly, it's really cool because it's super powerful and can make you explode people with your mind. If you want to learn more about cool archaeology
I want to explode people with my mind.
and natural science, come check me out over on YouTube, Miniminuteman. When I first saw this,
The irony of watching him on YouTube while he's promoting his YouTube.